Today's gospel lesson out of Matthew 16, verses 5 through 12 read, "When the disciples reached the other side, they had forgotten to bring any bread. Jesus said to them, 'Watch and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees.' And they began discussing it among themselves, saying, 'We brought no bread.' But Jesus, aware of this, said, 'O you of little faith, why are you discussing among yourselves the fact that you have no bread? Do you not yet perceive? Do you not remember the 5 loaves for the 5,000, and how many baskets you gathered? Or the 7 loaves for the 4,000, and how many baskets you gathered? How is it that you fail to understand that I did not speak about bread? Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees.' Then they understood that he did not tell them to beware of the leaven of bread, but of the teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees." How easy it is to miss the mark or to get off topic, to get lost in the weeds or whatever other euphemism you want to use for missing the point. We are once again indebted to the disciples for getting things wrong. And here is a doozy. Jesus plainly tells them about the Pharisees and Sadducees, but he uses the metaphor of leaven to make his point that their teachings are not compatible with his teachings. And the disciples start to focus on that metaphor and its possible meanings regarding their short-sightedness in not bringing lunch along. It's the cares of this world, like simply asking what's for lunch, that can drown out the clear teaching of Jesus Christ. You can almost feel the exasperation of Jesus. He not only recounts the feeding of the 5,000 with only 5 loaves, he piles on with the feeding of the 4,000 with 7 loaves, and oh, by the way, he tells them to remember how many baskets of remains they each had to pick up, following all of these bread miracles. He drives home the point that it is not bread or the cares of this life they need to worry about. He knows the Father in heaven will provide for them. No, it's their overlooking the point he's trying to make, that they must focus on his plain and unambiguous teachings that they and we need to focus on, to feed on. Remember when Jesus was tempted by Satan to turn stone into bread because Jesus had fasted for 40 days? Jesus said in reply that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God. Jesus here is making the point that his teaching is that of his Father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That it is his word, the disciples, and all who follow Jesus, that feeds us with what we truly need. Let us bless the disciples for their being as human as we are, and for putting our human failings and errors on full display. We learn, if we're willing to gnaw on this lesson a bit, to depend on the word of Jesus alone to feed us with his eternal bread of life. God's peace to you today. Goodbye.